What's up, guys? I'm BTC. I've got a lot of important Overwatch news today and what it's going to mean for the future of Overwatch. There's a lot of potential good and bad that can happen as a result of these upcoming changes. And also, just a little extra thing, I'm going to be giving away a bunch of Overwatch Lootbox codes. More info on that later in the video. Real quick, before I get into the big stuff, I wanted to show you the brand new legendary skin for Reinhardt. I talked about this in a previous video, but we only had an image available at the time. But now the character skin is in the game, and this is what it looks like. In case you didn't know, this skin is part of the Collector's Bundle, and that has a ton of stuff for not just Overwatch, but all of the other Blizzard games as well. The Collector's Bundle is going to be available until September, and you can get it through Battle.net or whatever other system you use for your console. Alright, so recently there was some really big news about Overwatch. You might have already heard about these things from other sources, but from what I saw, it was often portrayed as either being incredibly amazing, or it was the worst thing ever. And that's just not the truth at all. The reality is it's somewhere in the middle, and I wanted to talk about these things because they are going to have a pretty big impact on the game. Now, this news didn't come in the form of a big announcement, but rather it was information that was given out during an investor call. And if you're unfamiliar, essentially what this is when Blizzard and Activision talk to their investors and give them an idea of how the company has been performing and what their plans are for the next year. Simply put, Blizzard is not going to be releasing Overwatch 2 this year, and if you're a fan of Diablo, unfortunately, Diablo 4 isn't getting released this year either. Most likely, the release date for Overwatch 2 will be sometime next year. I wasn't expecting Blizzard to release the game anytime soon. I expected at BlizzCon, which will be in a couple weeks, that we would get some more information about the game, and possibly even a playable demo. Normally during BlizzCon, they have these demos available on the floor during the convention and everybody gets to play it. At the previous BlizzCon, anyone that went there got to play a mission from the campaign mode of Overwatch 2. Obviously, they can't do that this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if they end up putting a demo of the campaign on Battle.net for a limited time. It certainly isn't going to be the full game, or possibly not even a full campaign, but maybe at least one or two of the levels might be playable. The biggest problem with Overwatch 2 being delayed is the lack of content for Overwatch 1. There's certainly an argument to be made that players have already gotten everything that they paid for when they bought the game, and that Blizzard doesn't have any obligation to continue adding new stuff, and that's true. However, Overwatch is not the only game available. Many of the competition are constantly adding new content on a monthly or quarterly basis. New maps, new heroes, all sorts of stuff that keep players interested in playing those games. Every day, Blizzard is losing players to these other games. So adding new content is not so much about giving people more than what they paid for, but rather it's about keeping players interested and then getting new players to also buy the game. It's been almost a year since there was any significant content added to the game. Sure, Blizzard has included other things like the recent Flex Roll queue, but that and other things like it are not new content. They're being added to the game in order to fix something that's broken. That's why a lot of the stuff like Roll queue and the Flex system and all that other stuff, like when that gets added to the game, that's not really new content. It's more of a bug fix almost. The events are essentially the same thing that we've gotten year after year after year. Yeah, there's some new skins, but it's pretty much the same game modes with a different coat of paint, and that's about it. Once you've played Lucio Ball for 5 years in a row, it tends to get a little stale, even if they add little extra things into the map. The only map that we've gotten in quite a while was the specialty free-for-all map, Kanezaka. And yeah, it looks like a really cool map, but it's a specialty map for the arcade. It will never be used in the primary game modes of quick play and competitive that most people are going to be using. On top of that, 2 of the maps are so bad that they had to be removed from competitive game mode, that being Horizon Lunar Colony and Paris. So it's not just a case of the number of maps not going up, the number of maps for competitive is actually going down. we have less content for competitive than we did a year ago. To be clear, I don't have a problem with Blizzard needing to delay the release of Overwatch 2. I'd rather have them get it right than release it early and have it be a broken mess. At the same time, we also have to acknowledge that without regular content updates, Overwatch 1 is going to fall behind all of its competition as it gets more stale, and then the existing player base gets bored and stops playing. Certainly, there is a chance that Blizzard won't add anything significant until Overwatch 2. They'll kind of put all of their eggs in one basket and hope that the release of Overwatch 2 brings everyone back to the game. But I think that there's another possibility. I would not be surprised if Blizzard decided to release a new hero, possibly a new map as well, before the release of Overwatch 2. Now, I know that Echo was supposed to be the last character before Overwatch 2, but then again, Overwatch 2 was supposed to come out a lot sooner. Keep in mind that they're planning to release a whole bunch of characters with the very start of Overwatch 2. It's not just going to be one new character. They're probably going to add 3, 4, 5, or even more characters when Overwatch 2 first gets released. They want to have a whole bunch of new stuff. So it's not too much of a stretch for them to take one of those characters that's already been completed, and rather than waiting until the release of Overwatch 2, they instead release it sometime before that in order to increase the amount of content for Overwatch 1. Because remember, all the heroes for Overwatch 2 are also going to be available in Overwatch 1, so it's not like they have to do anything special for it. If they make the character and it works for both games, then it's not really that big of a deal if they release one of them early. But now we move on to the second big announcement that happened during that call. The staff at Activision and Blizzard talked about how they want to change the method used for selling their games, specifically referencing Call of Duty with premium content and free-to-play. Even before this, Blizzard was hinting that they were going to drop the Lootbox system, so it doesn't really come as too much of a surprise. Blizzard and other companies have found a tremendous amount of success with various Battle Pass systems and free-to-play microtransactions. Remember that they're not going to discontinue Overwatch 1 after Overwatch 2 gets released. They intend to make both of the games playable in the same matches. Overwatch 2 will have exclusive content for the story campaign, but as I just said a couple seconds ago, everything that gets added in Overwatch 2 in terms of heroes and maps will also be available in Overwatch 1. What it sounds like is going to happen is that Overwatch 1 will end up being a free-to-play game that will likely use a Battle Pass system or possibly other microtransactions, and then Overwatch 2 is going to be purchased as an expansion pack or some kind of paid DLC type thing. Just because a game becomes free-to-play, though, doesn't mean that it's bad. Some of the most popular games in the world are free-to-play. Fortnite, League of Legends, Dota, and more. Having a game that's free-to-play can be really good for you as a player if you don't care about any of the extra cosmetic stuff. As long as the extra items don't cause any change to the game balance, then you can enjoy the entire game and never have to spend a penny. Of course, there are absolutely some bad things about free-to-play games as well. The cosmetic stuff is often hilariously overpriced. $10, $20, sometimes $100 for a cosmetic item is just ridiculous. Then, of course, you have to consider the problem with smurfs and cheaters. There will always be more of those in any game that's free-to-play versus a game that you have to pay for. If someone gets banned in a free-to-play game for whatever reason, then they can just go and make a new account. It's just a 10-minute inconvenience for them. Players can also create Smurf accounts as much as they want in a free-to-play game. Blizzard does, at best, an okay job at dealing with cheaters in Overwatch. However, they do almost nothing for Smurf accounts. If Overwatch goes free-to-play, you can expect this situation to get substantially worse. If this is the case, then Blizzard absolutely needs to raise the minimum level requirement for competitive from 25, probably up to 50, and even then, that probably still isn't going to be high enough. And also, they need to start doing a much better job of banning the accounts that are using macros or bots to level up the accounts without anyone actually playing, because you see this all the time in the arcade where you have a team of 6 or you have the free-for-all matches where it's just a bunch of characters standing around, spinning in circles, not doing anything, and it's just to level up the accounts, and people do this all the time. And if it goes free to play, Blizzard is going to have to do a better job of dealing with that. I think there are definitely some good and bad things about a free-to-play system. That method would guarantee that Blizzard would be adding new content on a regular basis, and we would likely get far more character skins and other cosmetic items than we currently get from the event. Of course, the drawback would be that you would need to pay for at least some of it. Some of it you can probably buy with in-game currency and that sort of stuff, but some of it you're definitely going to have to pay with real money, and people are not going to want to do that. For me, if I get a legendary skin out of a loot box that I earned for free from just playing the game, then I think, oh hey, that's a cool skin to have, I guess. Maybe I'll use it at some point or another. But there's absolutely no way I'm going to spend $10 on a legendary skin for a character that I never play. And it's not even a guarantee that I would even spend that money on a character that I do play all the time. Overwatch 2 being delayed and Overwatch 1 possibly going free to play is not all bad or even all good. It's somewhere in the middle. There's some good and some bad to all aspects of both of those things. I think that we'll get more information about this stuff at BlizzCon, which is just a couple weeks away. Now, at the beginning of the video, I mentioned that I'm going to be giving away a bunch of lootbox codes, and there are a couple of ways that you can get these. First, you can follow my Instagram, where I often post cute pictures of my cat and occasionally a funny meme. Over the next 2 weeks, I will randomly be posting codes for loot boxes on my Instagram, and it will be a first come, first serve to whoever gets them. In addition, I'm going to be giving away a 24 loot box code in my Discord server, and this is more of a standard giveaway. All the rules for that will be posted in the Discord, and links for both my Instagram and Discord are down below. So what do you guys think about the situation with Overwatch 2 being delayed and Overwatch 1 possibly going free to play? Let me know down below. A big thanks to all the Paragons and other channel members for all your support. If you'd like to become one and grab some cool rewards, click the join button down below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like before you leave, and remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault.